Thanks for joining us on our streaming service for your First Alert Avalanche Report. I'm your First Alert meteorologist, Callie Zanandri, and joining me is the Deputy Director of the Colorado Avalanche Information Center, Brian Lazar. Brian, what has been driving the avalanche danger this week? What are we looking at?
Yeah, I can just show you by sharing my screen here. And so what we're looking at are essentially, pretty widespread areas across the northern and central mountains that have moderate danger with generally safe avalanche conditions elsewhere in the state. And what's driving that was new snow earlier in the week and a bunch of wind. And so what these videos are showing is essentially active wind loading. And this active wind loading, like what's also shown in this time lapse, shows you how efficiently the wind can transport brand new snow. And what this does is create stiffer wind drifted slabs, particularly at the higher elevations. And that is what's driving the danger. You get these lens-shaped stiff drifts of snow that will often crack underfoot, like in this image. And if the snow gets really stiff, it can produce some pretty eye-popping cracks, like in this image. And so what that's done is led to some avalanche activity, mainly in the newly drifted snow. And that's what this avalanche row shows, which is avalanche activity in the state of Colorado over the last week.
And Brian, some people might not be familiar with an avalanche row. Can you kind of break down what you're looking at in this?
Yeah, so think about this as a bird's eye view looking down on a mountain. So this outer ring here are the below tree line elevation bands. The middle ring is the tree line, near tree line elevation band. And then this inner circle is up in the alpine, above tree line. And so what this is showing you is the number of avalanches on each kind of compass direction and elevation. And you can see that over the last week, the vast majority of our avalanche activity has taken place on northerly and east-facing slopes in the above tree line elevation band, and that's because that's where we've seen the most wind drifting snow. And those avalanches look like this. You can see, the new snow's drifted into these stiff slabs and it's breaking on weak layers underneath. A little bit worrisome, and an avalanche problem we need to keep track of is we're starting to see some avalanches triggered from a distance or remotely, like this one near Fremont Pass, another one here in the Elk Mountains. So you can see these avalanches are still generally small, but growing in size as we had little bits of snow throughout the season. And this avalanche was triggered from like right here where this skier took the photo, so about 10 feet away. And you can imagine that this problem is going to get worse if we add more wind-drifted snow or just snow load to it. And so what we're really warning about are those high elevation slopes that look like this, that face north and east in the alpine, because that's what's seen all this wind-drifting snow over the last several days.
And Brian, we are set to see another storm roll in this weekend that could dump feet of snow in some places by early next week. What is that going to do to the avalanche danger in the backcountry?
Yeah, so we're going to have, because we're in this period of high pressure at the end of the week, avalanche danger will gradually ease. But as you mentioned, as soon as we get midway part through the weekend, you can see that the snow does start to pile up starting late on Saturday and through all the way into early Wednesday morning. And in these favored areas, particularly portions of the, the Elk Mountains up through the Park Range, we're looking at 1 to 2 feet of snow. That's going to add a load to those weak layers that were producing the avalanches from this week. So we can expect avalanche danger to start rising again as we move through the weekend and towards the Thanksgiving holiday. And you can expect some areas of considerable danger, which means pretty dangerous avalanche conditions.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, Brian, and we will see you back here next week for your First Alert Avalanche Report.